Hello and welcome then to the MotoGP Fantasy Preview Live for the Aragon GP. It's a big 3 weeks, I should say, coming up for MotoGP. We've got a triple header kicking us off this weekend in Aragon before we then go over for the flyaways as we head to Japan and also Thailand. My name is Jack Gorson. Joining me in just a few moments will be a man that's very well suited and equipped to tell us about the keys of Aragon and also help us choose our MotoGP fantasy team. We'll have Raul Fernandez joining us in just a few minutes. But of course, we have to highlight that it really is crunch time now in the 2022 season. Pecco Bagnaia just 30 points off Fabio at the head of the championship, and he heads back to the track where he got his first MotoGP win last year. But anyway, let's bring in our guest for this one. It is going to be Raul Fernandez, so let's bring him in now. Raul, how are you? Good to see you, and thanks for joining us on the Fantasy Preview Live.
Thank you, mate. Hello. I hope you are good, and thanks for the opportunity to come here to play with you. It's my first time, and I don't want to do a bad job, no?
Well, I mean, as we were discussing before, all the changes that you're looking to make are certainly going to be some quite good ones. But we'll just quickly chat to you about Aragon, Raul, because last year you came here off the back of, I believe, breaking your right hand, and then you went on to win the race anyway. So you obviously like this place.
Yeah, I have a great memories from Aragon. Also, I got my first Moto3 podium here. Two pole position. The last year I won, and it's a fantastic. I have a great memories. I think after the Misano race, we can do a good job here. I'm really enthusiastic, and I think also our bike is working well here. The last year they fight for top 10, and it's quite interesting.
Well, you say about Mizana there, of course, you had the opportunity to work with Guy Coulon over the weekend. Just talk to us about that experience, what that was like.
Wow, Guy is amazing boy. Was a fantastic opportunity for me. I learned a lot about him, and I enjoy. Uh, this was really important, and also when I ride the bike, I enjoy again. I think we did a good job, and here we will continue, or I hope continue on the same line. And yeah, was fantastic experience.
Well, yeah, we hope you can continue that momentum, of course. And now we'll just head over to the MotoGP fantasy part of this whole thing, and you can choose who you think is going to be on our team. But instantly, Raul, kind of the guys that are going to go well this weekend, which names are coming to your head?
When I think in Motorland, I think sure Pecco. Pecco did a
Hmm.
really good job the last year. Nice fight with Mark. Also, Alesi is always faster here. And I like the manufacturer. It's not bad. I think they did a good job. And the Silver Rider, I think both of them are faster here. But I think here Mark is coming, and I think when Mark is here, always he fight for a podium, and we will see what happens. No, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to be very
Uh,
interesting. Of course, as Raul rightly points out there, Marc Marquez does return this weekend. So does Johan Mir too, who was on the podium there last year in third place. But for Marc, I think it's certainly going to be very interesting. And of course, if you've not got Marc in your fantasy team and you do want to put him in this weekend, you just need to scroll right the way down to the bottom because of course he hasn't scored any points in the last few races. He is down here at 3.2 million, so not actually a bad option. Still quite cheap at 3.2.
no, not his bad option, because if he's more or less in a good place, he will fight for a podium sure. And if we don't put that mark, maybe we are stupid. No, I think it's necessary to have a mark here.
Okay, so if it's necessary to have Mark, then who are you going to take out to put Mark in?
Maybe we can put in the good rider in the Alais place.
Okay, but do you want to keep
And
Leish in as well or
no,
not?
I want to move to silver rider.
Okay, so
We
let's.
can do or not?
Yep, we can do that. So
Can
who
we
would
do?
you take
Yeah.
out then?
Okay.
Would you take
I
out?
think Martin. We take Martin
Okay,
out. We
so let's
put
take
Alais.
Martin out. Well, let's bring in Mark first, so we can do that because they're the exact same price, which is handy. And then we should be
Yes.
able to, or let me just click make trade. We should be able to switch these two. So
Yeah, I think
it
like
does
this.
say rider injured here at the moment, but don't worry, of course that will update once the game developers get around to doing that. But yes, so you're going all in then. You're going Mark in the gold rider for the podium.
Yes, yes. I don't
Okay.
know. Always he's super strong here. I think he can do a really good race, and I think it's interesting to have a mark on the gold riders.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. And what do you think about Aleix Espargaro's chances this weekend? Because he's lost a few points in the championship recently, but now we come to arguably his favorite track and the one that he always goes very well at. So, what do you think about his chances?
Honestly, now I'm a little bit confused between Aleix and Mark. Honestly, uh, it's difficult, no? But
It is, yeah.
I think Aleix always is really fast here. The last year in four places, but I think that Mark is a little bit stronger here. He won many times, and Pecco Sur is super strong here, and he won the last four races.
Yep.
I think I like the team more or less, and also Enea is a good rider to think that he
Hmm.
can fight for a podium because the last race he was really strong.
Yeah, he was. I mean, 34 thousandths behind Pecco in the end. Very close finish
Yeah,
indeed. Now, we do have one more trade that we can use if we want to. I don't know if you want to make any more rider changes. You seem fairly happy,
no.
but the other
I'm
option
happy. The
is a
the
constructor
constructor
change.
is too expensive, and now I think Aprilia can do a good job because both of the factory rider are strong, and they
Yeah,
can take many points for the championship. Is interesting. Maverick also did four or three or four podium in the last 4 or 5 races. Also is
correct. Yeah.
good. And Aleix is a good track for him here, and we will see. But I am happy. I am happy with my team. I don't
Okay,
want to
so
move. I think
happy with
it's
the
enough.
team. Yeah,
Yes.
perfect. No problems. Okay, so we'll leave that as the team then. Of course, talking about Aragon this weekend, you mentioned briefly last year that KTM was, I think Brad Binder finished seventh last year. So going to Aragon, what are your expectations? Are you hoping to be in that top 10 or close to it?
It's difficult to think on try to fight for the top 10. But honestly, I think that on the test I was strong.
Mm,
I think I had good feeling with the bike, and why not to think on try to entry on top 10. Depend now MotoGP is quite difficult, no, because all the manufacturers are strong, all the riders are strong, and the 50-60% of the race is the Saturday qualifying, no? Depend of your place on the qualifying, you can fight for top 10 or top 15, no? And I prefer to think on the qualifying to do a good job on the qualifying, and if we do a good qualifying, we think on try to end in top 10. Uh, I think it's not too long now.
Yeah, we certainly get closer. I mean, we saw last weekend that was a big improvement from some weekends prior. But Aragon's an extremely difficult track, Raul, and obviously you have experience there with pole positions and race wins there. What's kind of the key things to master in Aragon to actually, not have a nightmare of a weekend at one of the most difficult tracks?
Especially, I think you have 2 3 points very specific. Is the last curve is really important. Also, you have the chicane that both of the chicane is important to prepare very well the exit. I think this 3 point is the more important. The second chicane because you have the back straight, and the
Hmm.
last curve because you have the straight. In this point, you can win many times, but you can lose 2 times, and you need prepare very well for this 3 point.
Well, it's an interesting point that you raise about the back straight because actually the last question I had for you was about Fabio Quartararo on the Yamaha. We saw last 2 years that he struggled in Aragon. I don't think he's ever finished inside the top 5, or never better than 5th, sorry, in Aragon in MotoGP. What do you think about Fabio's chances this weekend? It's going to be a difficult one for him.
Uh, Honestly, will be a difficult track for Fabio, but I think that also Austria was a difficult track and he
That's
managed very
true.
well the situation.
Hmm.
I don't know. Fabio this year is quite strong. He have a good mentality. He take all the point that he can, and I think if more or less is working well, he can stay on top 5, and if he end this race in top 5, will be good result for him.
That does seem to be the general consensus. The top 5 this weekend will be very good for Fabio. But Raul, we'll just have to thank you for your time and coming on, and obviously
Thank you
wish
to you.
yourself good luck this weekend. But not just that, good luck in your final 6 races with KTM before you make the big switch
Yeah,
to Aprilia for next season. You must be very excited
thank you,
about
mate.
that relationship starting at the end of 2022.
Thank you, mate. Sure, I will enjoy the last 2 races, and when I end my last part of the season at my maximum level, the next year I will enjoy with the new project. But now I am
Perfect.
really focused. Thank you, mate.
Perfect. Well, enjoy the weekend and thank you for coming on, Raul.
Thank you.
So then, this is going to be Raul Fernandez's team, and he's gone all in. He's gone for Marc Marquez, straight into Gold Rider. That's a bit braver than I thought he was going to be. I thought he'd maybe put him in silver just in case Marc, with his physical condition at the minute, he's not 100% fit, not where he wants to be in terms of riding on his fitness in the bike. But still, this is Aragon, and Marc can do, well, incredible things. We saw last year how he struggled with his arm, but still managed to go up against Pecco Bagnaia. I think he had tried 7 maneuvers in the end last year. Unfortunately, just didn't make it work in the end. But he has gone then for Marc Marquez in gold. He's kept Pecco Bagnaia in there in gold as well, pointing out that Pecco is probably his favourite for this weekend. And I think he is many people's favourite. Of course, he's going for a historic 5th win on trot, and he'd actually be the first rider to do that since Marc did it himself back in 2019 on his way to that ridiculous title run where he picked up 420 points, I believe it was in the end. He'd also be the first Italian rider to do it since his mentor, Valentino Rossi, back in 2008. So that'd be a nice little bit of symmetry there. He's kept an Aprilia, obviously keeping the bosses on side for 2023. And also Enea Bassinini and Aleix Espargaro are still in the team, but Aleix making the switch over to Silver Rider this weekend. Or I've got to say, Aleix is probably a very wise pick for a little bit of an underdog winner. Well, not even an underdog winner. Aleix loves this place. He's had fantastic results here in the past, even on when the old Aprilia, when it wasn't the bike to be on. So certainly going to be an interesting one. Also, don't forget that Johan Mir returns this weekend. You'll be able to find him all the way down here, I believe. There he is. He's 2.6 million, and he was on the podium here last year on the podium. We're not too sure what Johan's going to be like, of course, because it'll be his first time back on the bike since his injury. But we certainly will see him fighting hard nonetheless. Now, only 6 races to go, but if you're still not signed up for MotoGP Fantasy, you still can. Don't worry about that. Once you do, you can join all the leagues in here to fight and compete for prizes at the top. We're 8,582nd at the minute in the global league, so not doing too well. What's that? Almost 400 points behind the top team there. Don't forget that these are the prizes you'll be competing for if you so do join up this weekend. You can still win 2 GP tickets to a round of your choice for 2023. So that's going to be it then. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much to Raul Fernandez for coming on as well. Good luck to him this weekend, and make sure you tune in to the Aragon GP. It's crunch time in MotoGP with 6 races to go. Pecco Bagnaia has clawed back 61 points in the last 4 races over Fabio Quartararo. It's all closing up at the top. Make sure you tune in. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.